What strategies might you suggest when it comes to understanding the comfort levels of a particular workforce in returning to work at this time?
Coming from Interior Health, we've actually had both. We've had essential workers that have been on site, but we also redeployed our staff home. And we're an organization that typically did not promote or support that flex work approach. And so at the start of the pandemic, 2,100 of our employees were sent home out of 21,000. So we have about 10% of our employees that are at home. And so some of the strategies we have used to kind of start the dialogue and keep the dialogue going is we've executed pulse check surveys and quick surveys, about 10 to 15 questions throughout various points in time, and have tracked those results. We've also sent facilitated questions to leaders. As we all know, and research shows, that the relationship of you with your direct leader is key and important in your engagement and understanding. And so we helped support the leaders have certain conversations, and then followed up with facilitated conversations with those leaders to then pull trends and help support make some decisions. We've also had open forum and blogs. So again, just various conversations at different points through different technologies. But the one piece that we're still curious about is we're a highly unionized employer, and really how to and where to bring some of those conversations and that stakeholder group in, because they are an important key piece of information and resource to employees.
Well, Kimberly, first of all, I think you're doing pulse surveys is great. It actually is consistent with what you said earlier, that you don't assume that if you talk to them once that it doesn't change. So regular pulse surveys. I've also found that for larger organizations, there's an anxiety. Do we have to talk to everybody in every pulse survey? There's a lot of really clear sampling theory. If you have 1,000 people, you don't have to talk to 1,000 all the time. You can sample it, take 200 5 times, and you'll get 1,000 over 5 pulses. So, think about the possibility of having representation and not talking to everybody. But I want to deal with that union issue, Kimberly. I think it's an extremely important one. I found my first book was called Beyond the Walls of Conflict. It was a labor management book on trying to achieve mutual gains bargaining outcomes. And we found that when you try to get labor and management together, probably the common interest space is safety. So joint safety committees are a place where labor and management are able to have conversations outside of bargaining. And I would actually think this is really not an issue of comfort specifically, but the first standard is the workplace safe? Comfort is an emotional reaction, and it might be that it's not safe and my comfort level is bad because you're not doing your job. Or it might be that it is safe, but we're not communicating in a way that's making me feel comfortable. So it could, or maybe I just will never be comfortable. It's also possible. So I would think this is the perfect opportunity to engage in joint problem solving with labor and management together, because this is a common interest. Workplace safety and workforce safety would be a common interest. So I would probably experiment with that and encourage that to occur.
Well, very similar to what Kimberly mentioned as well too. We certainly ran a number of employee surveys. We actually work with Aon Hewitt, one of the independent third-party organization that conduct the surveys, just to really get feedback from our employees or team members, how they're feeling, and just coming up with strategies on what we could do to actually provide some comfort to them that, we had a plan. We in terms of a number of things that we've done to react and to respond to provide that comfort level. I'd say that because TELUS, we've actually had what we call our Work Styles program in place for well over 10 years. A lot of our employees are very used to working in a remote environment. So we were able to transition fairly quickly. It's been part of our real focus on having real estate work with human resources and our leadership teams to do so. So the transition was seamless in that respect, but we've also really identified a number of other challenges too. One of them is certainly mental health. We really focused on mental health and just the amount of stress that an employer or team member at TELUS is going through, working more in a confined space if it's unnatural to them. Other kind of stressors as well too around customers, for example, even just having more family members at home in a confined space. So we've certainly provided a lot of resources in that area as well. And, just really focusing on the mental health aspect, and also using apps that we've also developed as well too. So when we do the return to work, we have a lot of processes in place around, social tracking, things like that, reservation software as well too, to track exactly where employees are on TELUS property, et cetera.